What's up, guys? Mulligan is in the building, and welcome to the second match in the Diamonds Are Forever series. For those not in the know, this mini-series is basically a compilation of the Wi-Fi battles I had in 4th Gen OU before Nintendo shut down the Wi-Fi service for the DS. And this is actually the last match I had before the shutdown, and it's a 4th Gen UU match against Diego, but some of you may know him better as dhgss. It was the last day of the Wi-Fi service staying up. Both of us were hanging out on the Smogon forum, and we decided to play each other. So I'm going to lead with Moltres, and he leads with Torterra. I'm running a Scarf Moltres, and I immediately lock in the Flamethrower to prevent Stealth Rock on my side of the field. And because I felt there was no other reason to make any early predictions, he keeps Torterra in, and Moltres one-shots it. It turns out that his Torterra is also Choice Scarf, which meant that Stone Edge or Rock Slide was the play from his side, but he likely didn't expect Moltres to be scarfed as well. He reveals Melodic on the free switch. I gotta switch out, of course, so I reveal black. Oh, okay, just calm down. Calm down. I went to scout the set that he's running. He predicted the switch, showed Toxic, but unfortunately it whiffed, so it gave me a chance to throw my own Toxic on Melodic, but it also makes me a bit more comfortable staying in and putting some chip damage on her, since I don't really have a safe switch into this Melodic other than Blastoise. I'm not behind as far as toxic damage goes. So after we end up toxicing each other, I decided here to go for Ice Beam, and I believe I was predicting a switch, but I was not predicting my opponent to be running double grass types, and he shows Executor, and it's going to get clocked and frozen. The rolls are really going my way so far this game. I know my opponent has to switch out here, so I decided to just stay in though and go for another Ice Beam just to keep him honest, and maybe hoping he would just fodder Executor off since it's frozen. He actually reveals Registeel instead. Blastoise can't do anything to Registeel, but I know Registeel is not an offensive Pokemon at all. So I take this opportunity to bring my own Torterra in so I can set up Stealth Rock. And he's going to predict a switch, and he's going to show Iron Head. So it looks like we're just feeling each other's team out, each looking to see what the other has as far as Pokemon go. But I stick to the plan. I set up Rocks, and he decides to switch back to Executor to attempt to thaw out. And if Diego was hoping I couldn't do anything to Executor, he's right, as I'm running what was the standard tank moveset at the time. So I'm not carrying Crunch, but the EV spread is especially defensive with a bit of a twist. So I go back to Moltres to not give him time to thaw and get momentum with U-turn, but he thaws out immediately, goes for Sleep Powder, and that whiffs. So the rolls continue to go my way. He's forced to switch out again, and he decides to go back to Melodic. I actually choose to go with Flamethrower over U-turn, which was a mistake in hindsight. I believe I had done a calc, and U-turn wasn't a guaranteed KO if he was running the standard special attacker spread on Executor, but the chance was still extremely high, and the momentum that would have came with it would be huge. But the damage actually indicates some special defense investment, but again, my only safe switch into Melodic is Blastoise, so I go to it. And he goes for Ice Beam, predicting a switch to keep me from switching into Torterra. I figured I was in a decent spot and could stay in to let Toxic build up on Melodic, but then he shows the move that almost every Melodic runs in DPP UU, Recover. This means that there's no way I can ever just stay in with Blastoise for multiple turns in a row. It's something I knew in the back of my mind, and I was just using Blastoise to buy time to figure out how to handle Melodic, and the Ice Beam is just going to bounce off her. At the risk of getting frozen here, I decided to just reveal Primate. I was thinking that since I'm running the Choice Band set, I can just lock into close combat, and with the EV spread he runs on Melodic, it's pretty much a guaranteed KO if he stays in and doesn't recover, even through Marvel Scale. He actually switches into Registeel though, which I honestly don't think I predicted. I considered it was possible that he would switch, but I wasn't sure. But he's forced to switch out here, and I know going for close combat is too obvious. So, and I don't know what his last two guys are. He still has an has Executor as a fighting resist, and if he has a ghost type, I lose a ton of momentum. So I scout and go for U-turn instead. Turns out he does have a ghost and reveals Mismagius, and I decide to switch into Torterra. He decides to switch back to Executor based on the fact that I switched Torterra out of Executor earlier, so he knows I can't do anything to it. And I just go for Woodhammer, not making any crazy predictions. I just wanted to get damage on something. And here I make a pretty ballsy play and predict him to go for Sleep Powder, and I bring in Primate to block it with Vital Spirit, knowing he could have easily just went for Psychic, as I haven't shown any resist or immunity to it so far. He indeed goes for Sleep Powder, and I get the momentum back. Worst case, if I lost Primate, it's probably the least useful poke against his team at this point. But U-turn's the best play for me here, as there's no way he'll keep Executor in. He switches back to Melodic, and I'm going to U-turn to Torterra. And this is the matchup I've been wanting all game, but I knew I had to get Torterra in safely, and you'll see why in a minute. So it's here that I don't have anything else to really do, and I really need to take out this Melodic. So I go straight for the Woodhammer, hoping he'll stay in and use Ice Beam, which he ends up doing, and I show that I'm running Yachi Berry on this set. Thankfully, I don't get frozen here, and Woodhammer finishes off Melodic, opening up my main sweeper. That's why the toxic damage was so important on Melodic throughout this game so far. I need to weaken her enough to where Woodhammer would finish her off, and Yachi Berry would allow Torterra to survive. But he's going to go to Executor on the free switch. Here I didn't want to make any risky predictions, trying to save Torterra, and he did his job this match, so I decided to fodder it off. And my opponent does go for the Psychic, which kind of confirms he's running the offensive set since he outsped Torterra. I'm going to go back to Moltres though on the free switch, just to keep the momentum going. And my opponent, he is going to reveal his last Pokemon, which is Houndoom, which wasn't too surprising since I hadn't seen a fire type all game, and Firewater Grass cores are very common in this metagame. Because it's Houndoom, I figured it was an all clear to sweep, so I'm going to U-turn out and reveal Blaziken, and I'm running the agility set, so I just need to get one off and I'm likely to win the game. He goes for Dark Pulse, and my opponent finally wins a roll here and gets the flinch. A Life Orb is shown, which is a pretty common item on Houndoom. I could stay in, but if I get flinched again, then Blaziken becomes a lot less threatening, so I decided to switch back to Blastoise on the next Dark Pulse, which he goes for. And I don't really need Blastoise anymore either. It would be nice to have against this Houndoom if it was healthier, but it's not. So I'm just going to fodder it off so I can get Moltres back in on the free switch and finish Houndoom off. Having a Scarfer down the stretch here proved to be pretty key, as nothing on my team outspeeds Houndoom at this point, except for my last unrevealed poke. He's going to reveal Sucker Punch here to get some damage in before Houndoom goes down to the U-turn. And I'm going to reveal my last Pokemon, which is a Mismagius of my own. I figured she was the best choice, as the way isn't necessarily clear for Blaziken to set up a sweep, as he still has his own Mismagius, Executor, and Registeel. He's going to go to Registeel. Now I'm running a substitute pain split set on this Mismagius, so I go ahead and set up a sub. The plan was to hopefully get Registeel down low enough and show pain, to get down low enough on my own HP and then reveal pain split, but that would require my opponent to spam Iron Head. Unfortunately, this is not going to work out, and he shows that he's running the Curse Registeel set when I throw down the second sub here. Now there's no way I can stay in here, otherwise he'll reverse sweep me, so I switch out to Blaziken. My opponent surprisingly goes for the Iron Head here. I thought for sure he would just curse up again, but Iron Head may have been better here just because I still have two fire types left, and getting damage on either one's pretty good. Now here I go straight for the Fire Blast, just to discourage him from going for rest and hopefully finish Registeel off. Unfortunately, Registeel is incredibly bulky on the special defensive end, and it lives with literally 2 HP, and Blaziken goes down to Iron Head. But fortunately, my opponent's remaining team is weakened enough for Moltres to just go to town here. So I'm just going to bring it in on the free switch and lock in the Flamethrower, since he has no resist left. for it, and nothing on his team outspeeds Moltres, so this is actually going to be the game here. Scarf Moltres came up big against this team, and if you look at all the team members, it turns out my opponent was using Legacy Raiders team, Team Shield and Sword, from way back in 2010. When you think about it, turn 1 was pretty big because Torterra is the rocker on that team, and taking it out meant that Blastoise didn't have to do more work and spinning Stealth Rocks away, and it just freed up Moltres to come in whenever it wanted to and just check stuff, and even ended up being the sweeper instead of Blaziken. But this was a pretty good game. Feel free to check out Diego's channel, which is linked in the description below. He uploaded the match from his point of view a long time ago as well, so feel free to check out the game from his side if you're curious, and that'll also be linked below as well. As always, if you liked the battle, feel free to hit the thumbs up button below the video, and if you didn't like it, then the thumbs down button is never far behind the thumbs up one. If you absolutely love the video, then feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues across the internet. All of this clearly helps the channel out and lets me know if you guys like this type of content. Anyways, that's going to be it for this one. Mulligan has left the building, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.